Hey you guys, I'm Aja. Welcome to Sunshine Haze. For those of you that have never seen one of my videos, thanks for tuning in. Welcome for all of my subscribers and people returning. Thanks for always rocking with me. I appreciate you guys. This is not our typical moon, new moon, full moon, whatever video, but this is one of the regulars. This is a retrograde video. And it's y'all's favorite. It is Mercury Retrograde. I have this camera, really debating on if I should just start this video. Oh, you know what? Nope. We're just gonna do the video. And you guys know I don't really edit these things out, so sorry. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. Before I get started, I do my video plugs every video. So what do I want y'all to watch right now? Venus retrograde is ending same day as Mercury is going into retrograde. Surprise, surprise. Of course, it's the universe got jokes, y'all. We will still be dealing with the shadow of Venus retrograde for a few weeks, so I would definitely suggest watching that. Link down in the description box below. Right now we are in the Scorpio lunar season, so go on and check out that new moon in Scorpio video, and then also check out the tarot forecast for the Scorpio lunar season. Those are good through like mid-December. Link down in the description box below. What else? Also, we have Jupiter leaving Scorpio, well, left Scorpio and is now in Sagittarius, so watch my video on that as well. Okay, those are all the plugs. Now we can get into the real deal. This is the Mercury retrograde video. This is the last retrograde of the year, and it is also the last Mercury retrograde of the year. And it is kind of the last Mercury retrograde in a fire sign until the year 2023. We do have a retrograde. I don't know if it starts in Leo or if it like ends in Leo next year, but it's mostly in Cancer. So we're kind of wrapping up the fire sign Mercury retrogrades for the year, you guys. This is kind of, we're like ending the chapter, really ending the year. All of these endings are coming in. We are wrapping these cycles up, yo. Which I'll get more into that a little bit later on in the video. If I actually, I don't think I need to talk too much about it being the last fire sign Mercury retrograde. Let's not, we're just gonna leave it at that. But before I get started, for those of you that are kind of like new to astrology, what is a retrograde? It's an optical illusion. It's when the planet looks like it's spinning backwards or like it's moving backwards through space, but it's actually not. It's actually just slowing down and passing back over certain degrees. So when the planets go into retrograde, I consider that a time to reflect and correct in regards to the like areas of our lives that those planets govern. So with Mercury retrograde, I always do this. I have been doing good for like a couple, I don't want to say a couple months because it really wasn't a couple months, for at least like a couple weeks of videos. I wasn't getting like tongue twisted like that, but what can I say? Same old me. Some things don't change. Some things never change. What was I saying? Time to reflect and correct. Mercury is, excuse me, Mercury is the planet that governs our communications, our intellect, like our mental. So Mercury retrograde is a time for us to reflect and correct in regards to the way that we're communicating, things that need to be communicated, and then also in our philosophies and the ways that we look at the world, our perspective. Excuse me. So this Mercury retrograde is starting in Sagittarius, and Sag energy is coming in pretty strong right now. We are getting ready to go into the Sagittarius, we're not in Sag solar season yet. No, we're about to go into Sag solar season. After the Scorpio lunar cycle wraps up, we'll be in the Sag lunar season. We've got Jupiter going into Sagittarius now, and now we've got Mercury in Sag, but it is retrograding. So Sagittarian energy is a fire sign. So there's a lot of drive, a lot of passion, a lot of will behind it. Sag is a sign associated with like our philosophy, so that's like a double whammy on the mental aspect of this Mercury retro. Why do I keep wanting to call it a retrograde? Like that doesn't even roll off of the tongue easily. The retro, that just why do I keep anyways? It's also the sign associated with seeking out the truth. It's a sign associated with like adventure and trying new things, and just being very open to different and new possibilities. Excuse me, guys. Catching a little bit of a cold, so sorry if I sound crazy. Sag is also a sign that is very spiritual, like after the water signs, because the water signs are the signs that carry, you know, that intuitive, spiritual, like kind of out of this world energy. You know, I'm tooting our horns because, you know, y'all know I'm like half water. But after the water signs, Sag comes in with this very strong spiritual energy as well. So Sag is also known for, you know, higher knowledge and, you know, being able to tap into their intuition a little bit more so than some of the other signs, and having it resonate and having it, you know, really be something powerful and intense. Excuse me. Sorry. Where are we at? I'm all over the place. This is Mercury retrograde for real. I typed these notes up, and the way that I have my phone set up, my laptop is behind it. So, and I wear glasses that I don't know where they are, so I don't really wear glasses. And not gonna lie, my eyesight has been dwindling, so to say, I feel like these past couple of months. So there's no way that I could have the notes up on my laptop and be trying to read them to you guys right now. So I like tried to copy them down very quickly into my notebook, but I'm like baby OCD, and I need highlighters and colors for my notes, and I don't have any. It's all pencil. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on, you guys, but I know what I'm talking about. But I like to have, that's my Capricorn rising, I think. I like to have something concrete in front of me that is easy to maneuver and easy to look through and adhere to. And my notes are driving me so crazy right now, y'all. I am so sorry. Okay, so with Mercury being in retrograde in the fire sign of Sagittarius, we're talking about taking the time to stop and slow down and look at our personal philosophies. So our perspective, looking at the way that we actually look at and view the world. And I'll talk about the typical Mercury shit at the end of the video. I want to give you guys information on how this particular there it is again. This retrograde is really going to affect all of us on, you know, a wide scale. So we're going to be looking at the way that we view the world, the way that we see the world, the way that we believe things work or we feel that they should work. And then also, because this is the planet of communication, and you know, a lot of the energy for this year has to do with coming into our own and becoming our true selves and living our best lives. So this Mercury retrograde is also going to have a little bit of an energy to lend towards our perspectives, the way that we see the world, the way that we think things are supposed to be, or we feel like things are supposed to be, and also the way in which we communicate our personal views. So for some of us, you know, this Mercury retrograde is going to bring us into a point of where like we may have been feeling like a little muted, or may have been feeling like our opinions have been stifled. This retrograde is going to be a good time to stop and take a look at, okay, why do I feel like I can't speak up? Why do I feel like I can't say this? Or why do I feel like, you know, people don't understand this part of my perspective? Or why do I feel like people don't get why I see things like this, or why I do things like this? That is probably that's going to be a very strong energy coming up for us during the next month. The retrograde ends on I want to say the 6th, but I don't know if that's true, and I don't have it written in my notes, you guys. I'll put it in the description box. Sorry. Actually, I'll just add like a little lower third right here, and I'll put the date. Mercury retrograde is ending on okay. Excuse me. This is also going to be a time where, again, going back to coming into this space of, you know, getting into what really makes us tick, what we really rock with, what really resonates with us. We're also going to be stopping, and just because it's a retrograde, we're going to be having a lot of these thoughts about, you know, things that we want to try, because we're talking about Sagittarius. So things that we've been, you know, maybe thinking about, or ideas that we once had that we kind of pushed to the back of our mind or kind of like let go, they may be resurfacing. I had to cough and I got tongue twisted and I like bit my like tongue. Excuse me. Sorry. It's orange juice. I promise us it's not alcohol, but could be a mimosa, but it's not. It's just orange juice. Where was I? A lot of kind of off the wall, out of the box, crazy ass ideas that may have crossed our minds at one point in time will be resurfacing during this time. And if they're actually, you know, feasible, no matter how crazy they seem, because it's retrograde and they'll be coming back or popping back up for us, and it is the Sagittarius energy, this will actually be a time to where we will have that energy kind of hanging over our logic, to where we can figure out and piece together these pieces of this life puzzle and say, okay, that's a wild ass idea, but if I do it like this, it could probably work. So again, like retrogrades, people have this association to this notion that retrogrades just come in and fuck your life up, and I'm not gonna lie and say that they don't, but that's not what they're meant for. Mercury is a personal planet, and it retrogrades 3 times in the year. So, and it's the communication planet, and Mercury governs travel, and it governs, you know, our thought process. So, yeah, those things are big aspects in our lives. We're traveling all the time. We're thinking all day, and at night when we're sleeping, when we dream, and we talk all the time. So yeah, that's why it seems like Mercury comes in and fucks our lives up, because it is a planet that governs a lot of our day-to-day activities. But it's really not meant to, you know, wreak havoc. It's really, again, here to for you to reflect and to correct. So during this time, again, with that Sag energy, anything that you've been wanting to do, or any ideas that you've had that you maybe haven't put energy into, or maybe felt like, you know, you just didn't have the resources, or you just weren't up for it, or you just weren't good enough to do it, or weren't ready enough to, or prepared to do whatever, this Mercury retrograde is going to give you that time and that space and slow down the energy for you to think through the process and either recreate a new process, or, you know, do away with things that don't or won't serve you. Okay. Excuse me. As far as the Sagittarian part of this retrograde goes, on the negative side of the scale, we'll be looking at, because it's a spiritual sign, some of us during this time, we may be feeling like a little bit of a lack in our spiritual journeys or in our spirituality, literally like lacking faith, maybe feeling like a disconnect with God, or feeling like you can't pray, or feeling like, you know, you don't understand why things are happening the way that they're happening, and being mad at the universe, or whatever you believe in. Normally during this time you may feel a little detached from it, with the Sagittarian energy attached to this Mercury retrograde, because Sag is typically so open-minded. On the dark side of Sagittarius, they can be very closed-minded at times. So with this being a Mercury retrograde, you may face a lot of, you know, people shooting down your ideas, or you may just not feel like anything resonates with you. You may be very stubborn and sticking to your ideas and only your ideas. That is the Mercury retrograde energy. If you can actually call those things out when they happen, that's a good thing in itself. And if you can do that, go on and try to combat that energy with something positive, and try to just remind yourself that it's Mercury retrograde energy, and you shouldn't be so close-minded, and it's Mercury retrograde energy, and you know, you shouldn't feel like a disconnect with your spirituality just because things might seem a little hard. Mercury comes in with a little bit of a tough energy just because, like I said, it touches day-to-day aspects of our lives. This Mercury retrograde is ending in Scorpio, and Scorpio is a very deep, very passionate, very mysterious sign. Scorpio is a sexy sign. And with this retrograde ending in Scorpio, we're gonna be looking at, you know, Scorpio is very determined, and because we're looking at all these new ideas, or all these old new ideas, the Mercury retrograde ending in Scorpio is going to bring in this energy to kind of show us where we've been lacking in literally making moves. Sagittarius is the making moves. Sagittarius is the making moves part. Scorpio is the drive to make those moves. So any ideas, again, going back to the Sag part, any ideas that you have had that you kind of put on the back burner, if they're ideas that you're supposed to act upon, this retrograde is definitely going to show you where you lack in putting energy into things that you need to put energy into. It's also going to show you where you're exerting too much of your energy. You will gain some clarity in that reflecting and correcting period, but on the negative side of the scale, talking about Scorpio, you may be dealing with a lot of secrecy. You might be having problems finding clarity in certain situations. And you may also be feeling a little lethargic, or feeling a little stagnant, a little lazy. And again, when you feel these energies come up, and if you can pinpoint what they are, try to combat them. Try to remind yourself that that's what it is, and that you don't need to wallow in that type of energy. Okay, so now let's move on into the numerologies for this retrograde. It is starting in 13 degrees of, I want to say Libra. I don't know why I wanted to say Libra. I know I wanted to say Libra. It ain't got nothing to do with Mercury retrograde. 13 degrees of Sagittarius. Sorry, guys. So the number 1, as you guys know, is the number that deals with the beginning of cycles. It's the number of manifestation. It's the number of independence. It's the number of new, fresh energy, starting things over. The number 3 is the number of the collective. It's the number of, community, and also it is the number of communication too. So these two numbers, this Mercury retrograde starting in 13 degrees, is really going to help us with the reflecting part of seeing where we want to take our lives. 3 is not the number of foundation, but it is the number of the start of foundations. So this 13 degrees, this retrograde starting in 13 degrees of Sagittarius, is really going to bring in this energy of, looking at life and seeing where we want to take life, what changes we want to make, like now, what do we want to change, what do we want to bring in that's new, and how can we start to plant the seeds. Now 13 breaks down into 4, which is now when we get into the actual energy of building foundations and stability. So having this, y'all, can you tell that I'm a moon video girl? I was gonna say, having this moon in, so having this retrograde start in 13 degrees, and having that energy of, looking at where we want to take life, what moves do we want to make, what changes do we want to make, breaking it down into 4 really brings the energy underneath that to say, hey, okay, so the changes, where you want to go. Now here's the energy to help you build upon those changes. And with the retrograde, I say don't start new projects, don't do anything new, don't try. Don't not try new things, don't do new things, but don't go into anything that is extremely important to you in regards to your foundations, or like your career, or like your things like that, expecting it to be long term, or expecting it to not have some sort of crazy or chaotic energy attached to it at all times because it's starting in the retrograde. This is not to say don't try new things, don't meet new people. Like, definitely, especially during retrogrades, it's a lot that retrogrades are a time for soulmate shit to pop up. So, like, don't shun away people and stuff. Just be, the retrograde energy here is to just be more mindful of the way that you communicate. But, why was I saying that? What were we getting at with that? I don't know, guys, but basically think about the process, and that is the energy coming in with this Mercury retrograde starting in 13 degrees of Sagittarius. Think about the process of the changes that you want to make. This starts on a 9-day, and 9 is a number that's associated with ending cycles. It is a karmic number. It is it carries a very highly spiritual vibration. So with with the Mercury retrograde starting on a 9-day, so it's starting on the day of endings. That's the way that I like to explain that energy. So retrograde, reflecting, correcting, and we're talking about Sag and Scorpio, looking at the philosophies and the perspectives that we need to change and where we're lacking in determination and will. Starting the retrograde on this day, on a 9-day, really is going to highlight where we've been stagnant and what cycles need to be ended in our lives in regards to the way that we're looking at things, in regards to the way that we're doing things, and also in regards to the ways that we are shaping our view of the world for ourselves, if that makes sense. So whatever is not serving you, or whatever is bringing in any kind of stagnant or negative or dense energy, because the Mercury retrograde is starting on a 9-day, it's really going to help showcase those energies so that we can move them out. Okay, so it ends in 27 degrees in the sign of Scorpio. So the number 2 is the number of peace, of harmony, of duality and polarity, and bringing things together, cohesiveness. The number 7 is the divine number. It is the number of truth. It is the number of philosophy as well. So with the retrograde ending with these 2 signs, so there's the energy of truth and clarity, and also bringing things together. So those 2 energies with this Mercury retrograde ending on that day, it's really going to bring us a lot of clarity on the things that we are reflecting and correcting during this time. So a lot of times during retrogrades, especially during Mercury retrograde, things will happen and we'll know it was some retrograde shit, and you're like, okay, I was supposed to get something from that, but sometimes it's still kind of hazy because we have that retrograde energy hanging over us, and it kind of fucks with our clarity, it fucks with our mental. So this time around though, because it's ending so it starts on the day of endings and then it ends in a degree of endings, it's really going to bring in this energy of no, you're gonna know, like we always know the retrograde shits, but you're gonna know, and you're also going to understand why these things are happening or why they have happened, okay? Which again, that breaks down into 9. So, you know, endings, what doesn't serve us, what are we getting rid of, or what are we fixing, what are we correcting, that we need to understand so that we don't find ourselves ending up back in these types of habits or taking on these types of perspectives again. It ends on a 2-day, so again, talking about the energy of bringing things together, of peace and balance and harmony. I like to look at this number in regards to this particular Mercury retrograde kind of as the wrap up. So we're ending the year. This is the last retrograde of the year. There is a planet that's still in retrograde when we go like into the next year, but this is the last retrograde that is starting and ending, you know. We're wrapping things up. So although this is Mercury, we've had hella retrogrades this year. So everything that we've learned, everything that we've stopped to think about, everything that we've stopped to rework or to, you know, put together in a different way during all of the retrogrades that we had, this Mercury retrograde is kind of tying it all together and saying, okay, you learned this back in January, and then you had this retrograde shit happening with Saturn back in, you know, May, and then you have Venus retrograde fucking your life up back in October. So now that you've learned all these lessons, let's tie it all together. Let's put this piece by piece by piece into your little vault of experiences. And now let's shift our perspective. Now let's see where we need to work things out. Now let's see where we need to start making moves and why we haven't been making moves in that direction or in that area of life, okay? So the numerology on this retrograde is crazy. The fact that it's the last retrograde of the year is crazy. The fact that it starts in Sag and is ending in Scorpio is crazy, because Sag and Scorpio, you know, and this Mercury retrograde, like, it's been treating me well, but that's because my Mercury is in fire. But it is Mercury retrograde, so I'm still kind of like tiptoeing, like, what's gonna happen? With that being said, Mercury does govern travel and communication, so please be mindful of the way that you're speaking to people. Because this planet is retrograding in Sag and Scorpio, you could really be dealing with either burning people with your words or stinging people with your words, so to speak, or feeling like that's being done to you. So just be mindful of the way that you're speaking to people. And then if you're feeling that energy coming towards you, you can just also speak up. It's a retrograde. A lot of people are not going to know that that is how they're coming off or what they're putting out. What else did I want to say about that? Travel. As always, punctuality is really fucked off during Mercury retrograde, so just be mindful. A lot of road rage happens with Mercury retrograding in a fire sign, especially with punctuality attached to that. What else? Travel. Be careful. Like, I don't suggest traveling during a retrograde. But, you know, some people can escape the Mercury retrograde matrix, and y'all should teach me your ways. I missed the flight first Mercury retrograde of this year, and I broke my phone. Second retrograde of the year was actually popping, but that was in my Mercury sign, so that's probably why. Don't know what's going to happen this time around, but I've got a glass protector on my phone in a new case. I know that much, and my ass is not flying nowhere. I know that much. I'm not even traveling this holiday season, so think I'm safe, guys. Think I'm safe. Guys, excuse me. Okay, I talked already about the next round of fire Mercury retrogrades not happening until 2023, so this is really just kind of the last time to see where we need to make moves and where we've been halted, where we've been lacking, because next year the Mercury retrogrades are gonna have to deal with our emotions and our spirituality. So enjoy this while you can, because it's gonna be a little bit heavier next year as far as the retrogrades go. Okay, sorry y'all, I was trying to fake the funk till the end of the video, but I'm catching a cold. I'm sorry y'all. What else? I talked about travel, blurting things out, blah 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 blah. People affected. Anybody with their personal anybody with their, this is not a moon video, anybody with their Mercury in 13 degrees or 27 degrees, you're going to be affected by this Mercury retrograde. It's going to hit you a little bit harder or change your life a little bit more than it will others. 6 or 7 degrees either side of that. If you've got your Mercury in Sag or Scorpio, this is your retrograde. If you've got your Mercury in Sag or Scorpio in 13 or 27 degrees, this is really your retrograde, and I would suggest wrapping yourself in bubble wrap and staying in the house for the next month and a half. Honestly, for real. What else? Anybody with Sag or Scorpio heavy charts, if you have a lot of Gemini in your chart, because that is the sign associated with Mercury, you can expect to be affected by any Mercury retrograde or any Mercury transit. And then if you have your Mercury in retrograde in your natal chart, this is going to be another very reflective or another very insightful, another very eye-opening or life-changing, life-altering time for you. Just keep that in mind, okay? And yeah, that's really it. That's it for the Mercury retrograde. I hope that you guys got a little bit of information from that, and I hope that, you know, you can maybe stop yourself from having Mercury fuck your life up 100% this last go round this year. I told y'all what videos to watch at the beginning. Watch that Venus retrograde because we're still in the shadow. Check out the Scorpio new moon and the Scorpio tarot forecast videos. The autumn equinox videos. Those are good till mid-December. And Jupiter in Sagittarius, because Jupiter has left Scorpio and is now also in Sagittarius. Those are my video plugs, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go on and give me a little thumbs up down below. If you have any questions or comments about anything I said in this video, please don't hesitate to drop them down below. Unless they're rude comments or unless they're like stupid, I'm just gonna delete it or block you. I don't know, it depends. Mercury's going into retrograde in fire, so I'm feeling feisty, so I might cuss you out. Don't want to do that, so don't post no weird shit under my videos, please and thank you. If you have any friends interested in astrology or tarot reading, or have any Sag friends or Scorpio friends, I would send them this video. I would appreciate it if you send them this video. You guys share my videos all the time, and that's how I get a lot of growth on my channel, so I do appreciate you. I'm coming up on my 1 year mark. I'm trying to hit 1K sometime soon. Even if I don't do it by the 1 year mark, at least by the end of the year. So y'all help a sister out. Share my channel. Tell people to subscribe to me. Y'all don't even really have to watch the videos. Just hit the subscribe button. But I would like for y'all to watch the videos. Okay, like, comment, share, subscribe. That's it. If you're still listening to me talk, ooh, wow, we're 31 minutes in. If you're still listening to me talk, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because if I could keep you for 30 minutes, I could keep you for another 30, and you'll probably like my other videos. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all next time. I don't even know what videos are going up next, but look out for whatever I post next. Thanks for watching.